Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky and they all look just the same.
Hey guys, this week on the Real DVD Watchers, rather than reviewing a movie, I figured I'd review a TV show, mainly because even though I've watched some movies this week, I don't really fancy reviewing any of them, so I figured I'd review a TV show instead, which I also finished watching this week. It's Weeds, Season 1. And basically Weeds is about a widowed sort of housewife called Nancy, who's played by Mary Louise Parker, and she becomes a marijuana dealer in sort of suburban area, and it's basically just to make ends meet, and it becomes this whole sort of thing, and you have this whole big cast of characters, and kind of the trouble and stuff that she gets into. Nancy as a character is really great. Like I said at the start of the season, she is widowed. She's got 2 kids named Silas and Shane.
And the infidels are ready to meet your demands.
I believe that's their names. Silas is kind of an older, I'm not exactly sure the ages, but he's sort of her older son, and then Shane's sort of the younger son. The family of 3 there. She also has a maid as well, and yeah, she sort of goes around selling weed to a lot of the sort of kids' parents at the schools. There's one character called Doug.
All yours, Smokey.
Smokey.
I'm working on it.
Who is not only sort of one of her customers, but Doug is also he's like an accountant and a friend, and he offers her advice and stuff. Earlier on in the season, they decide to make a front, sort of a business that can be a front that she can launder her money through. So they come up with a bakery, and he kind of is involved in that, and he's also like one of her biggest customers as well. But he's also a really funny character, especially when another of the characters that joins sort of midway through the season is Andy.
Take that, you crowd bastards.
And Andy is he is Judah's brother, and Judah was basically Nancy's husband who died. And Andy comes along, like I said, mid-season. He's played by Justin Kirk, and he fills the void, I guess, in terms of a father figure for the 2 kids. But he's also a really funny, really great character who typically in these he's the kind of character that I don't normally like. He's sort of like a fun-loving ladies' man who is lazy, and he's kind of the character that annoys me normally, but he's really great in this. He's really funny. He's a really great character. He quickly became probably my favourite character in the show, in the first season anyway, apart from Nancy, who's awesome. So yeah, that's kind of the family, and then at the same time you've got this other character called Celia.
Celia, what are you doing here?
I refuse to sit around the house for 3 days waiting. Puppies are coming off, Nance. And I'm thinking it's time to take them out for one last walk.
And Celia, at the beginning of the season, she starts off as this pretty much a bitch. She's really horrible. She kind of is this really stuck-up. She's head of the PTA. And at the beginning, I really didn't like her. But then as the season goes on, she sort of changes a lot. But to begin with, like I said, she's kind of this bitchy, horrible character. She has a daughter who's sort of overweight, and she's kind of put pressure on her to lose this weight. And there's one really funny scene in one of the earlier episodes where she finds that her daughter's got this hidden stash of all these chocolate bars, so she takes them, unwraps them, and puts laxative chocolates in there instead. So that's really funny. But again, sort of mid-season, she finds out that she's actually got cancer, and that kind of is like a really big changing point for that character, because she becomes a lot more likable, and she becomes more sort of she doesn't care anymore. She's happy. She sort of becomes happy with whatever her daughter wants to do. And there is a point later on where she starts to become more of a bitch, and her daughter actually does say that she liked her more when she thought that she was going to die, which is quite funny. But yeah, she's a really great character actually. I really ended up liking Celia a lot towards the end. She sort of goes back to the PTA, and it's just really great to see her character change. And Conrad, who is kind of part of a family of drug the suppliers that supply Nancy with the weed that she goes out and sells, and the other character whose name I always forget is I think it's Helia. She's Conrad's aunt, and they're sort of the suppliers for Nancy. But Conrad is a really great character as well. He's not that in it, I guess, in this first season. He doesn't do that much, but he's kind of got this big crush on Nancy, and I personally, I'd quite like to see them get together. I don't know if they do, so you know, I probably should mention this is probably spoilers for season 1. I should have said that at the beginning, but I didn't. Never mind. But I've only seen season 1, so I don't know whether they do get together, but I'd quite like to see that. I think it'd be quite interesting.
I'll pay you to install it.
You ready into me for a car hood and I ain't seen a dime of that? You got to offer me something else.
But yeah, at the end of the season, it kind of really does leave it open for, you know, it definitely lays down the plans for what's going to happen in season 2, which I really liked. I won't tell you what happens at the end of the season in case you haven't seen the show, because even though I have probably given away some plot points, I don't want to give away too much, because it's a really great show that you know, you should go out and watch for yourself. It is very funny. It is a very funny show. It's only each episode is only half an hour long. The show itself is from Showtime. Obviously, you have done Dexter, The Tudors, Californication, you know, loads of shows like that. Okay, so I've talked quite a lot about the characters in the show, but that's partly what this show's all about. It's kind of about the characters and sort of the things they come across, you know, the troubles that happen to them, their lives, and they are most of them are all interesting characters. I wouldn't say there is one that I don't like. There's a couple that I don't like as much as others, but you know, there's no characters in it that really annoy me or I hate or anything. But yeah, it's a really great show. It's one of those shows that kind of has a really, I don't know, upbeat feel to it, I guess. It's just a really funny show. There are some moments where I genuinely did laugh out loud. There are moments with like drama and stuff as well. But it's definitely a show I want to keep watching. And even though I've heard that some of the later seasons aren't quite as good as the earlier ones, I'm going to stick with it. It's a great show, and the characters, as long as the characters stay good, then I want to keep watching it. So I'm going to go out and watch season 2. Season 1, really great. I highly recommend it if you haven't seen it. If you're into I don't know what shows to really compare it to. It's kind of it's very different to other shows. If you like shows that kind of have some, you know, I guess kind of dark humour in places, but you know, a lot of the stuff is genuinely funny. I think you're going to enjoy it. So if you like funny shows, if you like shows that have some really great and interesting characters in and are just a bit different, you know, then check it out because it's really good. So that is Weeds season 1. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next week.